All right, welcome to this final module. We're going to use this time to do a high-level review and really lock in everything you've learned in this course about determining your organization's AI exposure.
So let's consolidate the key assessment frameworks and those department-specific risks we've covered throughout the tutorial. It's all about connecting the dots.
Here's our roadmap. We'll start with that assessment foundation we built, then do a quick review of the people-facing teams, the core operations teams, and the innovation and IP teams. And then we'll wrap it all up with your path forward.
Okay, let's start at the beginning, your assessment foundation. We began the course by establishing the systematic framework that really underpins this entire assessment process.
And you learned that this 5-phase approach is what ensures a comprehensive and, just as important, a consistent evaluation across all your departments and any AI platforms you might be using.
Next up, a review of the people and public-facing teams. This covers chapters 2, 3, and 4. We explored how this framework applies to departments whose activities are often intentionally public, which, as we saw, creates some really unique exposure risks.
For the HR department, the big challenge we discussed was that balancing act. Balancing public recruitment with protecting sensitive employee and organizational data. And we saw how legitimate activities could inadvertently expose all sorts of things, like internal structures, salary ranges, and even strategic initiatives.
We then examined marketing and sales, and for them, the focus shifted a little bit, from just preventing exposure to understanding what strategic insights an AI could synthesize from all their public content.
The crucial point for these teams was seeing how AI can aggregate years of content to reveal patterns in strategy, pricing, and customer relationships that just weren't obvious in any single document.
Okay, let's move on to our review of the core operations teams, pulling from chapters 5, 6, and 7. We'll see how this builds for the teams running your core business operations, where technical and financial data is absolutely paramount.
In our review with customer support, we saw how public-facing knowledge bases and forums could actually become a source of competitive intelligence.
You learned that the very same resources that are designed to help customers could also expose product limitations and even architectural details to competitors.
And for finance, the analysis depended very heavily on whether the company was public or private.
Now, what's really interesting here is how this illustrates the different standards. What's a required disclosure for a public company actually constitutes a critical breach for a private one. Same data, totally different risk.
Finally, for the IT department, we identified the primary vectors through which detailed technical infrastructure becomes exposed. And this chart illustrates it brilliantly. Technical job postings are, by far, the biggest source of exposure, revealing specifics about your cloud providers, your security tools, and your architecture.
We then covered the teams responsible for creating and protecting your most valuable asset, your intellectual property. This was our look back at chapters 8, 9, and 10.
For engineering and R&D, we focused on how the very activities that are meant to foster innovation, like publishing research and filing patents, can prematurely disclose your competitive strategy.
Now, for the legal department, the key was understanding how public filings and contractual documents could expose not just information, but the entire legal strategy.
We saw that while some legal info must be public, it's the optional details and the patterns over time that can really reveal your strategic legal positions.
So, having reviewed all the key learnings from this course, let's solidify the path forward and talk about how to execute your assessment strategy.
Your work really begins with a comprehensive assessment. From there, you move to remediation for any critical findings. You update your policies and training, and you establish ongoing monitoring, because as we know, AI models are constantly evolving.
So what's the most important takeaway from this entire course? I think it's this. Understanding your AI exposure is not a one-time project. It's a continuous process of security and information governance.
And finally, just remember that this tutorial from Virtualization Options LLC offers general guidance for a typical organization. But of course, every organization is unique and requires training tailored to its specific needs. This specialized training addresses the tools and processes that can help reduce risks and enhance productivity goals within the organization. So please note that the guidance provided may not be applicable to your specific situation and is offered without any warranty expressed or implied. For this reason, we develop customized training after collaborating closely with an organization to identify its unique needs and priorities. For information on how to create an organization-specific training program, contact Bob Slivic, Chief Technologist at Virtualization Options LLC. His email is bob.slivic@virtualizationoptionsllc.com.